and welcome to this very special episode of the Spoiler Cast.
Yay.
Yes, we are still technically on summer hiatus. Because we don't like summer blockbusters. So we when everyone should be doing podcasts, we go hibernate. But this summer was a very special one because we had a new Christopher Nolan movie. It's Oppenheimer, of course.
Ooh.
Yeah, so we kind of had to do a summer special then, you know?
Yes.
We kind of had to talk about it.
Kind of want to be honest.
Obviously, kind of wanted to. I mean, this is arguably the biggest movie of the year. For us, at least.
Well, it premieres on the same day as something else that's, for some reason, become very big, but...
Well, for us.
Yes, I guess. Yeah, probably.
Yeah, it's the same day as... It's the same day as Barbie.
Yeah.
Which we opted not to see. But we might still do it.
Yet.
Exactly, yet.
There's one more movie this year that I am very excited for, though, so I don't know...
Oh, yeah,
I don't know
Part
which
2?
one. Yeah, I don't know which one is the biggest yet. I haven't decided.
Okay, sure. But for me, at least, it was the most anticipated movie, I think.
Sure.
Because... I've said it before on this podcast. I am a huge Christopher Nolan fan and have been ever since Memento. Really, I saw it when it was fairly new, back I think 2003 or 4 or something. And I was like, this guy, he knows what he's doing. He knows movies.
For me, it's
and
the
then,
Batman movies.
Huh?
For me, it's the Batman.
Well, yeah, of course. we of course famously. Well, not famously. Nobody knows that. We saw Batman Begins, like, way in advance for some weird reason.
No, we've mentioned that.
Probably mentioned. It was the summer of 2005. We were visiting our grandma. We of course knew about the movie. But it was scheduled to come out like a month or something after we come home.
Yeah.
But then we just read in the local paper that they're showing Batman Begins on the local cinema.
In like the smallest theater ever. It was like, it 15 seats or something?
If even that, maybe 12 or something.
Yeah. And we got 2 tickets. We're like, sure.
They're showing Batman Begins now?
Like the middle of the day as well, right?
No, it was towards the 7, 8 or something.
Oh, it was.
Because our parents were in the town square watching... it was the... Do you remember Stadskampen?
Yeah, Stadskampen, yes.
Yeah,
sort of like
Swedish,
Wipeout Swedish thing.
Yeah, Swedish game show that was on about 20 years ago. So we've both been fans of his for a long time. And I'd say he's been getting better and better as a director.
Yes.
So, and if this somehow, I don't know why, maybe because of the subject matter, maybe because of all the press they've been doing, feels like sort of a culmination of his career. Not that it's going to be his last movie, but this feels like, other than Interstellar, I think this is one he has been, like, working on the longest. Because I think he had the concept way back several years ago, and didn't really come to fruition until now.
The production feels like the biggest one, though.
Exactly, and that's so funny, because it's just, it's just a bunch of people in rooms.
Yeah, but there's a lot of people, though.
There's a lot of people, yeah. But anyway,
very many famous faces.
Lots of famous actors, but we'll get to that. Sorry for dragging this out.
We literally just came home from it, though, so we're kind of
it ended about an hour and a half ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. But let's just do this as a regular episode. I'm going to start by asking you, what did you think of Oppenheimer?
I thought it was great. A bit long, a bit confusing at times.
This is his longest movie. If you don't count the credits, I think it's like 2 hours 51 or something.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah. So it's not the longest we've seen in cinema.
No.
We saw two movies last year that were longer.
2?
Yeah, the Batman was 2:58.
Oh, that's true.
I guess without credits though, or with credits, I mean.
Yeah, but then this one is 3 hours with credits.
Yeah, and then Avatar, wasn't that like 4 hours or something?
3.5.
3.5. Well, still longer than this.
Yeah,
which is insane.
True. Yeah, but this
still.
one, that one has both of them have more action, more going on. Oppenheimer is just basically just talking.
Yeah.
So it's you can feel the length differently and much more.
Okay. I gotta say, I felt the length a lot more in the Batman than I did here.
In a different way.
Yes, yeah.
This one wasn't long because it was boring. This was just long.
Yes, it was very
Batman
long.
got a little bit boring at times, which made it long.
And if you want to listen to why we're calling the Batman like one of the... Everyone was raving about that last year. Why we call it kind of boring and mid? Check out that episode. It's available on all major platforms. Sorry.
But it was also kind of confusing at times with the jumping in between, obviously between times with the black and white and the colors.
Yeah.
I understood where they were going for most of it, but towards the end I was a little bit, why are we talking about this? What does this have to do with the story? You
literally turned to me and was like, I don't understand anything. And
I'm kind of confused.
I get it, but I don't get it.
Yeah. I'm kind of confused here. That was like towards the last 30 minutes or something.
I can see what you mean. But I think, like I mentioned to you, because we try not to talk too much about the movie before we get here.
Exactly.
But like I mentioned to you, that I've too felt some frustration in the middle hour, so to speak, when they're actually building the bomb.
Yes. Because
the first hour is, his backstory and him joining the Los Alamos project, or the Manhattan project. And then the middle chunk is them building the bomb. And then the third hour is really the aftermath.
Yeah.
More or less.
More or less.
And there, I felt some frustration, even some moments of like nodding off, which is not because I'm tired, just because I'm losing focus. That's me losing focus.
Exactly.
But
again, it doesn't help that it's 3 hours long.
No, yeah, exactly. But like I told you, I felt that was that, and that might be me bootlicking a little bit, but it felt like that was deliberate to some extent. Because of the very clear like separation between that second act and the third act.
Yes.
Because we come to a very, very clear like this is what this frustrating hour has been leading up to. We won't say it, but you know what it is.
It almost felt like the end of the movie, and then there was more all of a sudden.
Yeah. We'll try to keep, like we usually do. We'll try to keep the first 20 minutes spoiler free, but I mean, you know what I'm talking about.
All in all, great movie. The first 5 to 10 minutes, I was shook. It was great. It was beautiful.
I kind of wish he just spent time with Oppenheimer in England and Germany. Just that could have been the whole movie. I understand why it's not.
Of course.
Because it's really about the pivotal moment of his life, building the atom bomb. But he was younger, he had all those, he had like anxiety, he had,
there were emotions, sleep. There was this considering of life and existence, and the music and the visuals with the stars and everything. Oh my god, it was gorgeous.
When he started teaching like theoretical, whatever it was he was teaching to that one guy, the first guy who became one of his followers. Yeah. It was all, it felt so, I
almost felt like math was beautiful at that point.
Yeah.
I almost understand why people say that math is a beautiful language. Just by watching those first 10 minutes of that movie.
Yeah, and it is that joy of discovery.
Yeah,
it was the same feeling I got when honestly, because I for the first time in years, it feels like, actually read a book. I mean, I've read books, but I read a book that I actually liked from beginning to end. And it was like
couldn't put down, basically.
Yeah, it was just like, breath of fresh air, or like when you're finding something, you're reading, you find something on the internet and you start reading about it, and you start going down like a Wikipedia rabbit hole, and you're just discovering things like, oh my, and this and that. It was this joy of a discovery.
Yes,
sort of. It was amazing.
And the way he paired it with that score, the music.
The music.
The music throughout the movie, but especially in the beginning.
Yes. Quickly just about the music. We'll probably get back to it, but I just want to say.
Yeah.
It is so idiosyncratic to have like an electric score and go almost like...
No, stop. Idiosyncratic?
Idiosyncratic means that it kind of feels out of time. Like, this is a movie that takes place between, late 1920s up to the 1960s or something.
Yeah.
I think that main
part is in the 40s sometime,
right?
Yeah,
of course, around the building of the bomb, late 40s. But the soundtrack is like, it's kind of similar to the Tenet soundtrack. Very like techno, very, very electric, of course. It's the same guy who made the score for Tenet. So it's a lot of
Yeah.
And usually when
Swedish, I forgot about that.
yeah. He blew up in the last few years. Mainly because of Tenet and Black Panther.
Yeah.
Usually when you do a period piece like this, you kind of stick to like classical music. Unless you're Baz Luhrmann, and then you do an Elvis biopic and put rap songs in it. But that's Baz Luhrmann. So it was interesting to hear that. But of course there were like orchestral, classical themes going on, but also with that din, 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 din in the background. And I liked it. It was weird. But it kind of fit it worked. It worked. It fit with the movie's themes. Yeah, definitely.
Oh yeah, it fit with the, developing of things.
Yeah.
How the main thing, the main object in the movie is very futuristic for them.
Yeah.
So and then, of course, futuristic sounds in the music is perfect.
Yeah, and the very lofty ideas of quantum physics and, being on the, like, cutting edge of not even science, theoretical science. Like, they have no idea what they're doing. And that's, I mean, I don't know how much you knew about Robert Oppenheimer. Robert Oppenheimer before this. Okay.
Very little at all. I recognized some of the names of the scientists.
Yeah, of course. Because you've heard them in other, like Niels Bohr, of course, Einstein, and, stuff like that. Yeah.
I had no clue that all of these were in the same timeline. I was like, some of them had to have been years apart, like hundreds of years. But no, apparently not.
Nope. They were, but they were part of the, the, like, second science explosion.
Yeah.
Like you had in the, like, 1700s, basically. The second wave of, science discovery that we had in the early 1900s. Where was I going?
You were talking about how you asked me if I knew the names, if I knew anything about Oppenheimer.
Yeah, because I'm not going to say I'm like a scholar that I know anything about, but I know I've read past, just reading, his quote. Everyone knows the quote, "Now I am become death to destroy worlds." Everyone knows that.
Isn't that from, like, Indian religion of some sort?
It's from
Vishnu
Hinduism.
or something.
It's from the Bhagavad Gita, which is one of
That's the one,
holy texts. I don't know which one. Which Krishna says, I think? The elephant god with the arms, I think?
I'm not sure. I know it's one of them.
Yeah. And I've never understood why it's not "now I have become death," it's "now I am become death," but that is the quote. So
that might be translation
might be, or maybe a time thing. They don't.
Yeah, true.
They have always been, but also becoming. I don't know. Maybe
also or whatever. Yeah.
So everyone knows that, and
I did not know he said it though.
Oh, okay. That he was.
I know it from that religion, and I know it from, like, Linkin Park.
Oh,
because he used it in a song.
There's actually footage of him saying it, and he looks there. I think he says it in an interview. I'm sure he said it several times. Yeah, when he like said it the first time, he probably said it to himself. Well, in this movie, I guess it was when he met the lady, whatever her name was, Florence Pugh's character.
Jade, something with Jade. Jade?
Yeah.
Judy?
I don't remember. There were so many characters I can't remember.
So many characters.
If that is, if that is historically accurate, that was the first time he said it, I suppose, at least out loud that we know of. But I'm sure he said it a bunch of more times because it is so fitting, so spot on for a guy who made the atomic bomb.
Gene,
so
by the way. Gene is her name.
Gene, right.
Yeah, but that's tiny detail which has nothing to do with anything. But the fact that she opened the book and pointed to those specific words,
that makes me think it might be a little constructed reality.
Yeah. That looked a bit
either
weird.
way, you should watch that interview.
It was too perfect.
you should actually watch that interview because then you can also see how accurate Cillian Murphy is as Oppenheimer. He is fucking spot on with the 1,000-yard stare and like really like feeling the weight of the universe on his shoulders after realizing when he's
almost done. Literally.
Literally, yes. that's also just to move on, I suppose. Before we hit the 20-minute mark, the acting.
Yeah, well,
and not just from Cillian Murphy, from everyone.
Even like small characters who are just like random actors you recognize the face of.
Yeah,
all of them phenomenal.
Yeah, I wonder if that is agents going like, this is going to be the big movie this year. We're going to try to get all our actors into it. Or if this was, like, requested by Nolan to, like, I want even, like, small roles to be by famous actors for some reason.
Or if actors went, I want to be in the next Nolan movie, I don't care what part I get.
Yeah, I would love to find out how cynical the choice of actors is. If it's just right man for the job, or if it's just, well, we really want to push this as a big movie, so we want as many names as possible.
Or if some of them went with, you kind of look like the person. Here you go.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, there's makeup and prosthetics on some of them, obviously, but...
Yeah, I mean, because there's a bunch of names, of course, in the trailer already, you know. Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we already mentioned Cillian Murphy, Florence Pugh...
Emily Blunt,
right. Matt Damon... who else is in the trailer? Well, is it Benny Safdie? One of the Safdie brothers? Who played?
You know what? I'm scrolling through, so I'm trying to see if I can find
the guy who played Teller, Edward Tellis, whatever his name was. But
whatever.
Then, yeah, those are like the names you saw in the trailer. Like, oh shit, oh there's that guy. But then there was like 100 other names or people. And you're like, oh, that guy. Like fucking early on in the movie, well, I can't even remember now. Josh Hartnett popped up. I haven't seen him in a movie in like 10 years. Because I know he kind of like stepped away from movies and he did some TV, like Penny Dreadful and stuff like that. But then he kind of like left movies a little bit. I guess he's back now. And he, once again, great performance.
Yes.
And then you had Dane DeHaan popped up. And like, I think he has a combined screen time of maybe 10 minutes. And that's because they repeat some of his scenes.
Yeah. Alex Wolff
showed up and has like 4 lines in the movie, and I didn't even see that it was him until like halfway through the movie, because it's not like they're like bum bum, here's the guy. Like no,
he's just showing up.
Yeah, it felt there's some there's other.
I almost didn't recognize Robert Downey Jr., to be honest.
You didn't? No, he looks very old now. And it didn't help that they made him look older with the hair and everything.
No, yeah. I know that face. What's his name?
He's also not covered in a fucking green screen suit. He's actually acting.
Very skinny compared to Iron Man as well.
Yeah. Now, he doesn't have to stay buff all the time. So
exactly.
I guess he left the gym a little bit.
Branagh?
Who?
Kenneth Branagh?
Oh, right, Kenneth Branagh. He was in the trailer as well.
Oh, maybe it was.
I mean, even the teacher who he tries to poison, spoilers. Wow. I recognize that guy. I don't know him by name, though, but he's also like a recognizable British actor.
Was it Blackett? Was that the character's name? James Darcy. Yeah, I recognize him too.
Oh, right, James Darcy, yeah. I gotta bring up, because there's so many more.
He was in Dunkirk.
Yes, he is. He plays. He stands on the. The dock with Kenneth Branagh, and right. Like when the fog lifts, you can almost see it. See what, sir? Home. Oh, speak a good movie. Anyway, and then of course, Oppenheimer's lawyer in the hearing scenes was Macon Blair, famous indie actor and / director. Which, this must be like, I'm not going to say like, oh, he's a big break, he's already kind of famous for all his smaller movies he's made, but I mean, this is the first time I've seen him in a big movie like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, so many more, like, Casey Affleck, and I don't know if that was deliberate,
Wait, what? Casey Affleck's in this?
He was the general in charge, who wasn't allowed to speak to anyone because he's such a vehement anti-communist even before the 50s. So they wanted to keep him away from all the lefty
he's a bit dangerous.
Scientists. Yeah.
Pride and Joy for Sweden, by the way. Gustav Skarsgård. Hello.
Gustav Skarsgård shows up, as one of the scientists.
Oh yeah, Benny Safdie. I found him now.
Yeah, that was Benny Safdie, yeah.
Josh Peck, for some stupid reason.
Oh yeah, Josh Peck is in this.
Jack Quaid.
Oh yeah,
I could probably read every single name here and we'll recognize them, to be honest.
More or less, yeah.
More or less.
I mean, it was even
one that surprises me for being at the top is Alden
Ehrenreich, yeah.
Ehrenreich, yeah.
Which, he played one of the
Senate or lawyer or something.
Yeah, one of the team in the black and white scenes.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I'm so happy to see him in more roles because people were kind of shitting on him. First of all, when he did Solo, the Han Solo origin story. First of all, because you can't take Solo. That has to be Harrison Ford, So we got a lot of shit for that. Then of course he got a lot of shit because famously they had to bring an acting coach onto the set. That was like leaked stuff, like people because he sucks as an actor, and then that movie kind of bombed, and you haven't really seen him in much after that. There's some, he pops up of course, but like and that's completely underserved because that movie is kind of whatever. Solo, but if anything is good in it, it's Alden Ehrenreich, and all the other stuff I've seen him in, he is great. So I was happy to see him in this as well, because he. Like I said, like everyone else, he was great in this movie.
Everyone was absolutely phenomenal, really.
Yeah. But the ones that stood out to me, I gotta say, Robert Downey Jr. was amazing. Amazing. It was so much fun to see him act properly for the first time in like 20 years. And, of course, Cillian Murphy. And then, even though it's kind of one note, I thought Emily Blunt was great as his wife, Kitty.
Yes, but she didn't have too many emotions involved. She had was like
mainly
one
angry drunk. Yeah,
yeah, but she did very well.
She did very well, and when she was in the end scenes, when we see him even older, I guess maybe in the 70s or 80s, that short like flash forward.
Yeah.
When she still holds a grudge against Benny Safdie's character, among others.
Yes.
And she looks really gaunt and old because then they put old makeup on everyone.
Yeah.
And the way she just like sucks her teeth at him.
That one little motion with her bottom lip. Yeah.
And I was like, she looks exactly like an angry old spinster. Like she embodied that angry old woman look.
That and the interview, the last like scene before that, she was fantastic.
Because you kind of feel like,
that's when you finally get to see the character she is.
Yeah, because she's kind of not the bad guy, but she's constantly drunk. She doesn't really want to take care of their baby. They don't really explore the relationship that much. We don't really know how, but so we only really see the bad side of her. So yes. I think that is deliberate though, and even when they're doing the whole hearing, she's constantly like berating them for like, why the fuck are you playing the martyr? Like, get angry, spit at them.
Yeah, and you're like, fight back.
Why is she being so mean? But then when she sits down and has her interview for the hearing, you're just like, oh shit, okay, that's who she is. I get it.
Exactly.
Then she is like fiercely loyal all of a sudden.
By the way, Gary Oldman as Harry Truman.
Yes. Which, by the way...
Another one I almost didn't recognize.
That's so funny, because that's also, like... I don't know if it's famous, but it's also one of those... That's a real quote that Oppenheimer, like, overheard him, but he famously said, like, keep that fucking crybaby out of my office. I never want to see that man again, because he was, like, whining over having built the atom bomb. And Truman was like, fuck you.
Puss, go home.
Yeah, basically call him a pussy. Oh, this man who literally has the blood of 100,000 peoples on his hands. But
well, according to Truman,
yeah, exactly.
They don't care who built it. I dropped it.
Yeah, they care who dropped it.
Oh, he almost said bitch at the end.
Yeah. But that's also, once again, that's one scene. And I guess he does the radio announcement when they drop the bomb.
Sure, but he had literally, 20 words to say in total.
Oh, yeah. And when Cillian Murphy says, like, I feel like I have blood on my hands. And he doesn't even say anything. He just picks up his handkerchief and waves it in front of him and then says, nobody cares about who built the bomb. They only care about who dropped it. I dropped it. Oh my god!
To so round off good. This little discussion you just had, what did you think of it? Sum it up.
I was a little not I don't know if it's good or bad. I loved it, of course. It was like a 4 or a 4.5 for me, like leaving the cinema.
Yes.
Now, when I can digest it and talk about it, It's a 5, dude. This is amazing through and through. And like I said, we talked about it briefly before we went in, how there's always feels like there's something, even in his best movies, there's something missing in Nolan movies. It's this ethereal, you can't really grab it, but something's keeping it back from being like perfect, even though he's come close to perfect so many times, which is very frustrating with him as a filmmaker. And here,
point.
Maybe, yeah, to keep you want to come back for more.
To see if you finally reach that perfection.
Almost the same as, what's his name? That we sold his soul to the devil.
Oh no!
The guy who made The Whale and Requiem for a Dream and all that. But here it's it's not. But that is just annoying because like he can do better than this.
Yeah.
Anyway. But yeah, having talked about it now.
Aronofsky, by the way.
Aaron Aronofsky. Thank you. Yeah.
Darren Aronofsky.
Aaron Aronofsky. But yeah, like I said now, that frustrating part here felt intentional. For the first time, it felt intentional.
Yes.
So, we'll probably do a ranking at some point, but I would argue this is his best movie. This is, once again, feeling like a conclusion almost. Like this is his magnum opus.
God, I hope not.
Of course, I hope his next movie is even better. Because I don't want him to start
if he just
getting
keep
worse
going
from
uphill,
now. Yeah.
He will destroy the world. He will make an atom bomb out of his movies or something.
Yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah. No, but yeah, I think it's as close to perfect as you can get without actually being a perfect movie. Because perfect, it's very... You
perfect
gotta...
movies don't exist, really.
No, you gotta choose very wisely before you call a movie perfect, I think.
Yeah.
I've done it like a couple of times in my life. But yeah, we both agree. It's amazing.
Yes.
Is it the best movie you've seen this year so far?
I'm blanking on what I've seen this year, to be honest.
We haven't had a lot of like greats. We had a lot of like good movies this year.
Let me check I have a list. I add every single movie I watched in for each year. I make a list.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's probably up there.
Yeah.
Because I've watched a lot of shit. There's also a few like they're so great, but they're stupid. They're not amazing movies.
They're entertaining.
Yes,
yeah,
but in an amazing way. But it's not an amazing movie.
Sure, like the closest before this is probably Asteroid City. That movie was awesome.
Yes.
But this one is better.
This one was for good movies, like movies, film. What John Wick was for action.
Oh yeah,
John Wick 4. I mean.
Yeah.
See that I've missed to add a movie on my list, but yeah, that's fine. I'll add it now. I forgot Fast and Furious 10.
Well, it is kind of forgettable.
When I added to the list, whatever.
Yeah,
but anyway, Oppenheimer is definitely,
and I think I think it's a contender for best movie of the year.
Definitely.
I failed to see much beating it this year.
It's definitely nominated for the spoiler awards.
Oh yeah, we can say that already, even though we'll get to the nominations later this year. But it's definitely, definitely. Yes. It's gonna be this is gonna be this year's Top Gun. It's gonna take a nomination in every goddamn category.
Most likely, because this is gonna sound stupid, but it even had a couple of jump scares.
Yes.
I jumped like 3 times, I think.
Yeah, a lot of
from
like musical
sound
cues
alone.
Yes. Oh God. Anyway, to wrap up this now 30-minute spoiler-free segment. We both wholeheartedly recommend this.
Oh, yes, definitely. Oh, my God.
If you're a fan of Nolan, I mean, then you've already decided to watch it.
You've already watched it, probably.
If you want to watch a great movie, even if you're not a fan of movies, go check this out. Like, this will make you a fan of movies. This is...
I do, however, because we do keep mentioning that long movies aren't ideal anymore.
Sure.
It is a long movie.
It is.
Watch it in a comfortable theater, but do watch it in a theater, though.
Yes,
you
definitely.
IMAX would probably be to recommend. We did not see an IMAX.
No.
We saw special screening.
We saw an actual film, 70mm film, which I guess we'll say we'll save that for the spoiler, and not because it's spoilers, but just to wrap this part up. Fuck it, From now on, spoilers, whatever. We'll just keep going.
But definitely watch it.
Oh, and, definitely.
Probably in IMAX, both for the visual and the sound.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Make sure you have a snack and a drink, I suppose.
Yeah.
But yes, go watch it. 7mm?
Oh, my God. Call me, once again, call me a traditionalist, call me a fucking boomer, I don't care. The texture of the picture was like you could almost like feel it. You could feel how it
vibrated off the screen.
Yeah.
At points.
And you could, and people are like, you can't really tell the difference between a digital projection and a actual cellular projection. Oh, yes, you can.
Yeah, you can.
This looks so. I mean, I've said it before. I don't know if you were with me. No, it was a friend. I went and saw The Thing on actual 35mm print from the 80s. Yeah. No, that was you and me.
That was you and me.
Yeah, I saw Point Break with another friend on the same cinema with the same thing.
We also saw like Close Encounter?
Yeah, Close Encounter of the Third Kind. Yeah. Oh. And when it's older movies like that you've seen a lot of times on like DVD and stuff like that, to watch that on actual print, it's almost like, I mean, you're physically closer to the action because it's right on the other side of that film. That was the light from the actors hit that film, and actually, like, part of them got stuck on the film.
Yeah.
When, while digital print is, it's motion translated into ones and zeros, it's different.
Exactly.
And is digital still good? Of course. But there is a very special quality to actual film. Like I said, it's like you can almost feel it somehow. And
the first shot of this movie, the screen literally vibrated.
Yeah. With
like the emotion.
Yeah, because like one of the first shots is him like having these terrible visions of an unseen world as he's lying in bed.
Anxiety ridden.
yeah, it was awesome. And just to like, it just helped with the emotion. I gotta say though, the black and white stuff did not feel the same way, even though that's shot on film as well. It's actually like, I mean, if this does not win for best cinematography in the Oscars, something is wrong. Because
we know something's wrong. So, but it, because of the star-studded like cast list, it most likely will.
Yeah, but I mean for cinematography, not for film.
Sure, but no, they'll recognize that that's film as well.
Yeah, because they literally revolutionized IMAX cinema. They created the first ever black and white IMAX like celluloid film.
For this.
Yes, it didn't exist because
no other IMAX movie's been shot in IMAX for black and white?
No, because they've always just, desaturated the picture if they want to do in black and white. But usually you don't want IMAX to be in black and white because
because the colors
there's so much information going in. So, but here they wanted it for, for artistic reasons. And he didn't just want to desaturate the picture. He wanted to actually film it on black and white film.
Wasn't he involved in like creating the IMAX stuff for like Batman Begins and stuff as well?
Yeah. It wasn't, I don't know if it was it was for Interstellar where they made
right.
They made the cameras more like wearable because they're like 60, 70, 80 pounds otherwise. So when the guys were filming the IMAX stuff in the Dark Knight movies, they could only do like short stints of it because it was so heavy.
Yeah.
And then they managed to slim it down for Interstellar, and now this movie is the first one I think that it was completely shot on IMAX.
Fuck, we need to go see it in IMAX.
Maybe Dunkirk. Yeah, we probably should watch it in IMAX.
Because even on film, when the colors, specifically in the explosions, my God, those colors were amazing.
Oh, yeah.
I can almost... Well, I don't know if it's going to be better in IMAX, to be fair, but I really want to see it in IMAX, though.
On a bigger screen, yeah.
On a bigger screen.
Bigger screen, bigger sound.
Bigger sound. Because, even though the sound terrified me.
Yeah. Because we had very, very comfortable seats.
Yeah.
Because the cinema, we were in Rigoletto in Sweden.
It's one of the
very older cinemas. So the seats are not super comfortable, but they did remake the balcony section, call it VIP section,
like
10 years ago. Yeah. So those seats are super comfortable now.
Yes.
But you're all sitting very far from the screen, so the picture isn't that big anymore.
And very high up.
Yeah. So yeah, I would like to go see it in like, premium seating on IMAX. Just like, see it like that. See Oppenheimer's face in 30 foot high.
Actually feel the impact of the explosion.
Yeah.
Like,
when
vibrating through our seats.
Oh, when he's walking into the auditorium, or walking out of the auditorium after giving the speech, when he's like having visions of people being burned alive.
We need to talk about that scene in general. We need to talk about humanity in that scene in general.
Oh my god!
Because all I could think was like, what's wrong with humans?
Yeah, but I mean, that's the whole thing. Like
we've only talked about like the visual, the movie, the film.
We haven't talked about the technical
story.
Stuff. Yeah, we haven't really talked much about the story.
I mean, the story's obviously it's history. We know what happens. Yeah. Everyone knows what happens. This is just condensed and looked at through a different angle, I suppose, than what most people probably. There
has been other movies, or at least I know one other movie that focused on the stuff they made in Los Alamos. I think it's called Big. What's it called?
So like the Trinity Project.
Yeah, but it's called Fat Man and Little Boy, which were the names of the bombs.
Oh yeah,
it's like made in the early '90s, I think. Also with a pretty good cast, but it's focused more on. It's not a focus on Oppenheimer. I don't even think Oppenheimer's in it that much. He's more of a shadowy figure in the background, sort of. I know John Cusack has pretty big role in it. And he plays like one of the
Fat Man and Little Boy.
Fat Man and Little Boy, and he plays one of the scientists who was irradiated when the demon core shut. Which is also a very, very, very famous thing that happened, which I kind of wish they brought up in this, but I get why it wasn't really important to the story of the building of the bomb, so to speak. I don't know if you heard of that. They were doing. You saw when they were, when they had the big round like uranium core, and they were putting big like blocks around it. I think that's it's quote unquote demon core. It's called because they were doing experiments on it where, the whole thing with the creating a burst of radiation like that is that you basically shut the neutrinos in so they don't know where to go, which makes them bounce back and forth, which creates heat and which creates radiation. Yes. That's part of how you make an atom bomb. And they were doing experiments, like trying to figure out like how much can we agitate it, like how much can we do before it's dangerous. So they had it like 80% covered by these deflecting, like these shield things.
Yeah.
And then or like more than that, like 90% covered. And then they just shoved a screwdriver in between two of the platings, the plates.
Yeah.
So they could like bend it just a little bit. So so when you pulled it up, it was this much open, like a few inches. And when you closed it, it was like almost closed. They couldn't close it because then, of course, you get the big reaction. So they would literally that was their only like protection, was a screwdriver in between two plates.
Like
that's how they dealt
slowly pysa ut the energy, basically. I don't know how to translate that word. When you let air out of a balloon and
it was
sound.
Atomic energy was seeping out. But they didn't know better. Yeah, they didn't know better. So it's fine,
they very briefly touch on it in Oppenheimer when they mention that they don't want women working too close with it because they're afraid of what it might do to their reproductive organs. And she comments going back, well, my organs are more protected than yours, dumbass.
Yeah. That's also... I recognized her as well, whoever that was.
I have no clue who that was. I recognized the face.
I've seen her in
I don't even know what her name was in this movie.
I don't think they give her a name. But either way, so they're doing the testing, like to see what the radiation is. And then, of course, the screwdriver, slips. And it's closed. It's closed. And, the whole thing the whole room starts glowing blue. This is, from eyewitness accounts, because not everyone died. But the guy who was in John Cusack in that movie, he realized that, oh shit, this entire room is going to be...
Michael Merriman?
Right, Michael Merriman. He just grabs the uranium and just pulls it out of there, throws it on the ground, and says, "Nobody move," because they need to they need to see where everyone was standing, so they know how much radiation later on.
Yeah.
And then he's basically looks at his hand and is like, "I'm a dead man." I think he died 6 days later.
Yikes!
And I think a couple of other people got cancer in that room.
that part wasn't really in Oppenheimer because they didn't really. That wasn't the impact they were worried about.
No, exactly.
They were more worried about the impact after the actual bomb.
Yeah, so I can see why they neglected it, but that is a very pivotal moment in atomic history.
Sure.
So there's a good video about it. A YouTuber, science YouTuber called Kyle Hill, has made a video. Just start Kyle Hill Demon Core. It's awesome. Anyway, I kind of wanted to see that, but I see why they didn't have it there.
Yeah, we had enough.
Yeah.
But yes, we had a similar moment though when it comes to the aftermath.
Oh, yeah.
When he does give the speech.
Oh yeah, sorry. Back to that. Sorry. Yeah.
And his entire world basically just implodes on himself. Because he realizes what he did.
This is the day after, or maybe even just hours after, right? No, this is after he dropped the bomb.
It's the 6th, or the 5th, technically, when they've bombed Hiroshima.
Yeah.
And he gets the news. The bomb has been dropped.
And that's kind of the first time it sinks into him, oh, this is what I have done.
That's when he starts realizing that what he created killed
hundreds of thousands of people.
They counted up to 220,000.
Yeah, and that's
just from
that's
that
just initially.
impact.
And I mean, I don't know
Years
how many decades
down the
after
line.
that.
People are still being affected, born with defects and not being able to reproduce in general.
Yeah. But yeah, he of course, of course,
you have to keep a good face, You
have to keep a good face, and it was really they ended World War II there officially. It's another moment where Americans and Russians fought together, on the ground. But I mean, the war ended with the dropping of the bombs, really. So
people saw what happened and went,
yeah, we shouldn't fight anymore because they're going to drop a third one.
Exactly.
So I can see why people who didn't think of the repercussions thought it was a good thing, and in a way, it was a good thing because it did end one of the worst wars of all time. But it came at such a cost. That's the thing, and that's what is weighing very, very heavily on Oppenheimer at that moment. But yeah, he's trying to be a little quippy, say something uplifting because everyone's clapping, they're stomping their feet.
If he would have said something else, he would have been thrown in jail for what's it called, treason or something.
Yeah, they would call him a traitor, even though
yeah. So he had to.
But as he's giving the speech, everyone's cheering him and clapping, and he just stops. He can't hear anything. He only hears some sounds, and I think that's once again him seeing that unseen world that he keeps having nightmares about.
You hear a random woman scream in pain at one point.
Oh, you heard that as well. It was so good.
Yeah,
because it was roaring laughter, and then they cut everything like that, but you heard a right before, someone screaming in pain,
and then it's dying from the impact or something.
Yeah, exactly. Because then it's completely quiet. You can hear him breathing. You can hear a faint, rumble, which I think is supposed to be...
It's the stomping
clapping
of the feet.
Yeah. And then you can hear when people get up from chairs. He hears the chairs.
Yeah. They can't hear the voices or the sounds coming from the actual humans.
Yeah. And then, the light starts flashing, as bright as when the bomb blew, minutes earlier in the movie. And then he sees the woman in front. Her skin starts, tearing off.
Healing.
Yeah. And then some people are crying in the audience, but only one there.
Yeah.
And he keeps trying to haha, too bad we couldn't drop it on the Germans. And then he starts walking out there, still can't hear anything. And then I think it slowly comes back.
You see under the bleachers there are two people making out, and then on the other side, just a few steps further, they're crying over a dead child.
And that's
and it looks like it's the same people.
They have similar clothes. And he comes out. The first thing he sees is one of the scientists who was involved in this just puking over a bicycle stand.
Was it his brother?
No, I think it was that other guy, one of the unnamed.
One of the younger dudes who all look the same.
Either from
excitement,
excitement, or from being drunk because obviously lots of champagne going around that day.
Yeah, and you've seen soldiers have been running around and they're celebrating on the back of cars and stuff.
And I
waving the American flag and shit.
And specifically that moment, because the crying, you understand why. It's because some people know what really happened.
It's cathartic as well.
Oh yeah, but I'm wondering then. I read dual messages from the guy puking. Either it's just like Oppenheimer, he realizes what he was part of creating here, a death machine.
Yeah.
But also Could it be that he has drank so much champagne, this brilliant mind has drank so much champagne, he's now puking over a bike? And Oppenheimer sees this and like, should we really be responsible for a weapon that can destroy the world?
I saw it more as the panic of realizing that
I think so too. But
created death.
You can definitely read it both ways, and I thought that was interesting.
Sure, definitely. I just felt sick.
Oh yeah,
that entire scene before he walks in, when you can start hearing the people stomping, because they use that several times in the movie. The stomping that becomes rhythmical.
Yeah, and it's in the trailers.
It makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, because it's building towards something, and we know that the entire story is building towards this horrific event. Yeah,
it just adds to the whole army and soldier vibe of the movie as well, their indifference to human life in general.
Yeah,
so this is just an army marching towards killing others with no consequence. Really,
yeah, it's people applauding and cheering over the fact that in an instant, like 100,000 people died. Instantly, were wiped off the planet.
Oh, yeah.
And like mainly, I think, all of them were civilians. So I'm pretty sure Hiroshima was just a civilian city.
It was a factory, right?
I'm not sure. They mentioned it in the movie. I don't know if it was.
No, I think...
like I said, I don't know, but I'm pretty sure it was
I think there was like an armory factory thing involved in Hiroshima, and that's why they chose that city eventually.
Maybe.
Not entirely sure, but I think so.
Hiroshima. What does it say? It's just in Swedish. It doesn't say anything. But usually there's very little info in the Swedish Wikipedia.
That's true, because it's not really...
They call it a military target. No, it's the first military target of a nuclear weapon. Okay.
Yeah, whatever. I believe there was a reason, because they had like reasons for not choosing other cities, so...
It transformed into a major urban center and industrial hub. Yeah, okay.
Wow.
So it was a factory.
Yeah,
probably making.
But there were also so many civilians there.
Yeah, of course.
That had
Civilians
nothing to do
there.
with the... Yeah, but like nothing to do with even working there.
Oh, yeah.
Not even like considering the wives and children, really.
Yeah.
There were still humans who just lived there, happened to live there. I literally wanted to puke. Yeah. When people were cheering for how they have... Because we've all seen pictures of the victims of all of these like bombings in general. I hate it. How can someone celebrate the fact that they've figured out a way to remotely end so many humans at once without like without having a conscience about it, without being conscious? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without it weighing on their conscience.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it is
sickening.
Yeah.
I don't even understand how they like in the beginning of the movie go, you know what? We can create a bomb with this. How did you even think of that idea?
Well, I don't know. It felt like it was kind of they kind of sped it up in the movie to kind of get to the bomb making faster. But when you have such, because the obviously like splitting of the atom or like I said, fission, it's obviously very unstable and violent reaction.
Yeah.
So if you think about it, like the first thing humans are going to use it for, like, this is something that creates a lot of heat, a lot of destruction with very small means, very quickly. What can we use that for? Could we use it to, create heating or power? Sure. We could also make a bomb out of it.
Yeah, but didn't when Nobel, who made the dynamite? Wasn't it Nobel? Einstein.
Alfred Nobel created nitroglycerin.
Oh, right. Whatever. The dude who made up dynamite, he didn't think, we're going to use dynamite to hurt people. He most likely thought, that's an easier way to get rid of big obstacles when we're trying to build stuff, right?
I don't know. Well, what?
Huh?
Here it says dynamite was invented by the Swedish chemist Alfred Nobel.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, that's what they said in the movie, right?
Oh, didn't it say Einstein created dynamite?
No, he was just in it.
Oh, sorry.
He was just there a lot.
Okay. Which
confused me, because I
because
honestly thought Albert Einstein was like in the 1800s or something.
No. He was alive during the war. He did not discover nitroglycerin. That was discovered in the by Italian chemist Assanio Sobrero in 1847.
Cool.
Well, first synthesized, I suppose.
Yeah, whatever.
Anyway, yeah.
We're not historians or scientists or whatever.
No.
I'm just thinking, when you create something like that, it's not a... Dynamite isn't a big explosion until you combine lots of dynamite.
Sure.
So he probably didn't have the idea of like, hey, I can hurt people with this.
No, but I think if you're relatively smart, you know that if you create something that has that much destructive power, even as dynamite, which is much smaller than an atom bomb, you know
Someone
that
is
it's going to be
it.
used to hurt people,
even if that wasn't his intention.
and that was partly what Einstein talked to Oppenheimer about in the end, the very end of the movie.
When we finally get to hear what they said in the beginning of the movie.
Yeah, exactly. And that's
like consider the consequences of what you create.
Exactly. And how
is, I think, literally what he said.
Something like that, yeah. And how like now they love you, but you know soon you'll just be a footnote. And it kind of is, you know.
Yeah, because they don't care who created it; they only care who dropped it.
Exactly.
Honestly, the story in and of itself is, like you said, it's history. People know most of it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know the details like I did,
you know the gist
but
of it.
You know what happens in the end. You know the big deal. You know the explosion. You know the killings. You know what your reaction most likely is to that kind of event in history.
Yeah.
And you can understand Oppenheimer's reaction. You can probably sort of understand the other people's reaction as well.
Yes. I can understand people cheering.
Sure.
Because, you know...
It's dumb, but I understand why they did at the time.
Yeah. It feels like a moment where you really should be like... It was a necessary evil. Like, maybe not the right thing to do, but what other choice did they have?
Because they were living in war times. We don't.
Yeah.
Not in the same
not
capacity.
In the same way. Yeah, no.
Even
but
if we recently sort of have.
Well, it never came here, so.
Did it come to America?
No. Well,
No.
That's a whole other thing.
Yes.
They were, and how they.
But they felt threatened in another way than we did.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
We've ever had been. So I can see that they're like, yeah, we won the war, we won the fight.
Yeah.
Obviously, it's like watching a football match, for Christ's sake, and cheering for your own team.
Yeah.
It's literally what it is. But at the same time, yeah, you understand that you can see the horrible aspects of it because you know what happens. You know the repercussions of it.
Yeah.
So the movie, the story isn't really about that. The story is more about Oppenheimer and his reaction throughout the discovery.
Yeah, it is a biopic.
Yeah.
It is
But then we have the third act.
Yes.
With the councils and the interviews, and I have no clue what that was all about, really.
No.
Like, I understand, it took me a while, but I understand that the black and white was the latter part.
Yes. It was now, so to speak, the 60s.
Yeah. Now in the movies, yeah. And then the colors were, like, just later.
Even more, though, than that, it is that the black and white stuff is is an outside perspective of what happened, while the color stuff is very much what Oppenheimer saw. It is his vision. It is his angle of the story.
Sure, but I don't really understand the whole storyline or plot line with Louis Strauss, Robert Downey Jr.'s character.
Yeah.
Why did that have to be part of the movie? What does his application to the Senate have to do with the creation of the atom bomb in the end?
Well, he was one of the board members of the Atomic Energy Commission, where Oppenheimer was also part of it.
Yeah,
trying to kind of keep the lid on atomic bombs, atomic energy at that moment.
Yes.
But when the movie starts, there is hearings about getting. Strauss wants to join. He wants to become a congressman, I think.
Congressman, that's the one.
He's supposed to be, sworn in to Congress, which is a big deal because then you're kind of running the country,
part of the government.
Yeah, Of course, and they kind of, they have to go through your history and everything.
Sure. Because you need to be approved, and everyone needs to like you, basically.
Yeah, and a big part of that is, of course, he was involved with Oppenheimer after the bomb, after the time when he was, his security clearance was taken away from him.
Yeah.
And of course, all his friends who were communists or left leaning, they just wanted to make sure, everything was fine. And what we don't really know in the beginning, because I thought he was an ally of Oppenheimer at first.
Yeah.
It becomes more and more apparent that he did not like Oppenheimer, mostly because Oppenheimer was kind of a dick to him, but he was a dick to him in order to ensure no more bombs were being made.
Yeah.
That was his primary goal with being a meanie. Strauss didn't see it that way. He just saw it
he just saw Oppenheimer as a bully.
A bully, an obstacle. So, when he has a chance to become a congressman, he kind of, it turns out he's been playing 4D chess and has been building towards this, because it turns out he was the one who leaked the information about Oppenheimer's communist associations. Yeah, exactly. And about him being reluctant to build the super bomb after the nuclear bomb, and having spoken ill of the nuclear bomb afterwards and everything.
Yeah,
he was the one who actually started all that, made the hearings happen. The hearings, which was a big part of the movie, the hearing of Oppenheimer, which is not connected to the black and white stuff that happened earlier.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I get that. That the hearing, the in color interviews.
Yeah.
Are in between the creation of the atom bomb and
the black and white stuff.
The black and white congressman hearing, swearing in, whatever.
Yeah.
Choice. Election? I don't know.
Yeah. So he had been...
I understood that part, but I don't really understand why Strauss's wanting to become part of Congress has anything to do with the Oppenheimer story, really, except, no, wait, that's...
Yeah, because it was
he was... playing that chess match.
Yeah, because it was such a big part of his history as a part of the Atomic Energy Commission. So he wanted to make sure he could completely wash his hands of any sort of misdeeds that Oppenheimer did. No. Oppenheimer was the one who did this and this and this.
But Strauss employed Oppenheimer as a teacher before he began working on the Manhattan Project, right? Strauss, Robert Downey Jr.'s character, he employed Oppenheimer as a teacher before the Manhattan Project.
Oh, at that institute? No, that's after the Manhattan Project.
Is that after?
Yeah, it's after.
But he was a teacher when he started teaching that random dude, and then the class became bigger. Isn't that the same?
Oh, maybe it is. Yeah, I mean, like I said, I'm a little confused about those details as well. Because, like I said, there's a lot of time going on.
It's a lot. Yeah, that's the main issue with this movie. The time jumps, because they don't jump 10 years in between.
Sometimes it's
it's kind of difficult to understand in
years.
which. Yeah, and sometimes it's just 1 year.
Yeah.
So you can't really tell there's a difference on the character.
No, yeah.
You can't see this is the old guy, this is the young guy. No, you have a bit of the young guy, and then it's just this in between in the 40s. He looks the same the entire time. I have no clue when some of that is supposed to be, if some of that is supposed to be before or after certain events.
Yeah.
I understand that for effect, for the revelation of certain incidents and involvements of people, you have to have the jumps.
Yeah.
But they could have made it clearer somehow.
Especially that Strauss was the one who leaked all the information to that guy.
Yeah.
That communist
I
hunter.
understand that they couldn't... That part I completely understood. And when they kept repeating those moments, you're like, yeah, okay, now I get it.
You want to know why he did it.
Yeah. Because he employed him.
Yes.
With wanting him to be there, right?
Yeah. But then because Oppenheimer ridiculed him time and time again as a means to, quell their hunger for more atom bombs, he wanted revenge. They talk about him being petty.
So it's petty.
Yeah, they talked about that.
True, that's true.
That his character was petty. So he thought I can both smear Oppenheimer and use that as a way to make me look better and get me into Congress. Problem was then that as much as he thought that he had smeared Oppenheimer's reputation, got his security clearance revoked and everything. The people who actually worked with him knew that he was a good man. You know, a few people maybe didn't.
They didn't agree with
everything he did, but they still knew that he was a good man. Even like when the teller came in to do his interview for the hearing, like he was honest, which maybe didn't put Oppenheimer in the best light, but still in the end said that he's a patriot. He's a fiercely loyal American.
Yeah,
he loves his country.
Matt Damon's character kind of did the same. It's like, he talked very well of him, but in the end he goes, I would not give him clearance. No. Because no.
But then he said, but I wouldn't give any of those guys clearance now.
Exactly.
But that doesn't matter. They only want to know about Oppenheimer because they wanted to smear him. Problem was then that this witness that they brought up, Jack Hill was his name, I think? Rami Malek's character.
Yeah.
Who we really only had seen having like one interaction with Oppenheimer before that, which was a bad one, when he was kind of like, oh, get that pamphlet away from me, I don't want to sign anything political. But at the same time, he was there in the background many times during the Manhattan Project. So he had seen who Oppenheimer really was. So when
he understood the part where he didn't want to sign probably told him a lot about his character.
Yeah. And I mean, it was a wrong time to sign also.
Yes.
So when he walks up there, they think he's gonna like talk about how much of a meanie and a bully Oppenheimer is. But he goes up there, and because he's a man of science, he's a man of, he's a rational person, he tells the truth, which is that Strauss has been manipulating the whole thing. And Oppenheimer, while, might rub some people the wrong way, is actually like a stand-up guy.
He's honest, at least.
Yeah. And
he understood the errors of his ways eventually, even if he didn't realize it at the time.
And that
he could confess.
Yeah, like we see then, after the vote then, like, that completely ruins Strauss's whole campaign.
Yeah.
So that's why it's in the movie. It's in there to show that even though he was kind of disgraced, when push came to shove, he was still like a man people respected.
Yeah, and a lot of what happened during the development of the atom bomb was orchestrated by Strauss.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that's why it's also because he was all the way back then already planning on his victory somehow.
Yeah.
Even though it failed. So it makes sense, but it was
so that's why it's in there.
A little bit confusing with the jumping back and forth.
I know, but it's honestly, I felt that it was kind of like Tenet. Like, you didn't need to know all the names. You didn't really need to know why Robert Downey Jr. was having hearings about Congress and everything. You just needed to know that it was all working towards that one moment where Rami Malek's character goes up and ruins the entire scheme. That was it. Because Oppenheimer is a very conflicting character in history. Like, he's a genius who figured all this out, but he's also the guy who made nuclear weapons a thing.
Who created the worst mass murder weapon in history so far. Yeah.
So, while, we should praise him for his scientific
exploration.
At the same time, was it the best choice maybe to build a nuclear bomb, to help them build a nuclear bomb? So he has been.
He did. He had a good intention though, because all he really wanted to do was stop Hitler.
Yeah.
And save his people.
But just like
basically,
just like we talked about doing here, like, I can see why some people hate him, some people love him.
Yeah, definitely.
But I know in history it is a little more. Not now, but a few decades ago, maybe it skewed more towards him being the bad guy because he built the atom bomb. So I think that's also something that the book that this is based on, Modern Prometheus, and Christopher Nolan's script really wanted to show who Oppenheimer was,
the human,
not paint him as good or bad, but show who he actually was, and that. Whether you like him or not, at least it's a man you can respect. I think that was the whole goal, and that's why it ended with that part. Yeah,
because in the beginning of the movie, you don't really sympathize with Oppenheimer at all. He's not a sympathetic character.
No, he's very cold.
He's cold, and he doesn't care about other humans, really.
It's very rational.
Except for, like, his brother.
And he saves Niels Bohr from eating the poisoned apple.
Sure, but that's conscious more than he just doesn't want to kill someone.
Yeah.
As a single person, out of hatred, really, he doesn't want to kill someone out of hatred. No, and I mean, it almost kills the wrong person. So
yeah, and that is kind of a microcosm of the whole movie. Like in a moment of like, oh, I have an idea, because of irrational thinking. Like, oh, this teacher was mean to me. I want to get back at him. I know. I'll put cyanide in his apple. And then him, like, the morning after, like, wait a minute. No, I can't kill him because he was mean to me. So he runs over there to grab the apple. That's when he meets Niels Bohr.
Yeah, and then he instead of just saving the guy he wanted to kill, he also saves an innocent.
Yeah. And that's kind of the same thing. When he first hears that, oh, shit, they managed to split the atom. Oh, you know what you can do with this, when he sees the effects actually, when they do it in the lab next door, like, you could build like a really big bomb with this. And it's the middle of the war and everything, so like, if we're going to build anything, it should be weapons.
Yeah, and he's thinking, I can save lives with this.
Yeah, and then he wakes up the morning after and it's like, no, wait, I can't do this. But then it's too late, because he already built the bomb. They already dropped it and killed hundreds of thousands of people. So that time, he wasn't able to snatch the poison apple.
Exactly, it was too late.
Yeah. So that's symbolism.
So he's not a sympathetic character, really.
No, he's complex.
But you understand exactly. He's human.
Yeah.
You understand him, and he develops throughout the movie because he starts to realize what he's doing.
Yeah,
and what he does has.
Consequences.
Consequences.
Yeah, and also instead of being like all over the place, like I'm learning a bunch of languages, I'm reading the Bhagavad Gita, I'm interested in communism, but not interested enough to join the party, and I want to teach, I want to build a bomb. After the bomb, he has like one goal, and that is to like keep the lid on atomic power, because he realizes like this is what I have to do.
We don't have to build a bigger one.
Yeah.
We have a big one. That's enough.
Yeah, like he says in the early parts of the hearing, like when he talk right in the beginning, when he starts talking about what he did in England and in Germany, like I was young, emotionally immature, which is also like because over the course of the movie he grows up because he's still kind of emotionally immature, even when they start building a bomb, because a rational person wouldn't build that kind of weapon, especially when
he does
the first test they make is that. If we're not 100% sure what we're doing, we could like destroy the world.
Yeah, there's like this near zero
chance.
Accuracy
here. Like the chain reaction might just continue. It won't dissipate. Yeah,
everything.
Yeah, the fire could reach the atmosphere and ignite the atmosphere, and then it's goodbye.
That's literally nuking the world and starting over.
Yeah. Yeah, everything.
Not starting over.
No, everything will die. Everything will die.
Everything.
So that's why.
Yeah, but he keeps being this immature person through other things as well. It's not just about the actual atomic bomb. He has immature relationships with people.
Yeah,
women in specific, because his marriage is not really a marriage of love.
No, they kind of...
it's sort of convenience.
First it's obviously passion. Yes. He falls in love with her in that party, but they accidentally have a baby, so there he does what is a mature thing to do. He talks to the guy, and, their marriage was kind of, on the upheaval as well, so he can just take over and marry Kitty, so that the child won't be a bastard, because you can't have a bastard.
Yeah.
But then,
but he still has...
they're not feelings for Jean, who has a very complex relationship.
Very complicated, yeah.
Because, she is the way she is.
She's complex in general.
Yeah.
But he also... He's rational when it comes to like, yeah, we're idiots. We can't take care of the baby, so we're just gonna ask someone to save it, basically. Which, yes, it's the right thing to do, but it's also not.
Yeah.
The right thing to do would also be just to like, work on your relationship, work on your lives, maybe take time to take care of your family. But he can't really because he's working on this
big project,
giant project that is literally world changing.
That's interesting because I didn't really think of that until now. I thought about it with the apple, but now that you're mentioning that he really makes a lot of. There's a series of bad decisions up until the bomb explodes, where he's like, "Ah, shit!" But I'll make sure to fix it. I'll do the right thing. Yeah, but
I'm not going to be able to erase it, but I can at least try to fix it.
Yeah, but it could have been avoidable. That's the thing.
Yes,
and
if he had been a little bit careful in the beginning.
Yeah, and the bomb is really the culmination of that. Like.
Yeah, because that's also a rash decision that if he just stopped and thought about it...
If the first thing he didn't think of was, I could make a bomb out of this, they wouldn't have happened. I mean, it might have happened, but then it wouldn't be on his hands.
No.
He could have maybe helped stop it instead.
They do talk about how someone else has had
the Nazis
a similar...
are working on it, right? They're splitting the atom as well.
They did it first.
Yeah, and I think that's why he's worried. That's why he want to build a bomb so he can stop them. I think that's his rash thinking right away.
Yeah, if I can build it first, they won't have time to build it and blow us up and the Jews, which are the ones he's thinking of at the time.
Yeah, exactly. But then, he builds the bomb.
He gets lucky with the fact that they go down the wrong route with they use water?
Heavy water instead of graphite.
Yeah.
So
he's like, yes, we're one step ahead now instead of being 18 months behind.
Yeah. But then when he sees the bomb go off, he's like, damn it.
Scheiße.
But then he decides, I'm going to fix this by then joining the Atomic Energy Commission and the rest of his life trying to explain, like, no more nuclear bombs.
It was a mistake.
No hydrogen bombs.
We don't need more or bigger.
Yeah, we can't go bigger. It's a mistake. So
we got lucky, basically.
And that just, like, that makes so much sense now. Like, how well written this is as well now. Now I think about it, like, oh shit! Not just a dialogue, but the plot, the themes.
I do think I need to rewatch it now that I understand the plot and the themes better.
Yes.
Though I have multiple movies I need to rewatch because I understand them better after we've discussed them. And a 3-hour movie is not really enticing at the moment.
No.
Though I do also want to go watch it in IMAX, though. So this is very conflicting.
We'll have to see it before it goes out of theaters. But if this is a success... Well, no. Not even a successful movie stays in theaters a long time anymore. They're usually
especially not on IMAX.
No, they're gone in like a few weeks.
Because then you have the next big thing that needs to take place on IMAX.
So we should see it before the summer's over.
We should see it, yes.
We should see it. Maybe sometime in August, since we're recording this in the end of July.
Yes. And I think we need to round it off here, to be honest.
We should, but we have to talk about one thing before we do that.
Okay, what's that?
First of all, the fact that Christopher Nolan has said several times that there are no CGI shots in this movie. That every effect you see is a physical effect. There might be...
The explosions?
Yes. Even when you see, he has like visions of the future and he sees all these streaks of missiles going up through the clouds.
Yeah.
That's supposed to be real. I mean, they've made it a physical effect. Not just that, like, if that's true, because some of the shots looked CGI. I'm just wondering, maybe. And of course, like in stunts, because there are some stunts, people falling over and stuff like that. They might have wires that they remove or, padding or something. That's fine, but there's no fully CGI shots.
It's not like green screen, everything. No. Green suit.
No. So if that's true, that's amazing. And then then we should talk about the explosion. We should talk about that scene as well. When they actually do the first Trinity test, when they drop the first bomb. Because like I said, for me, that was the moment that this middle frustrating hour was leading up to. I mean, you literally had like a 40-second countdown, not just a 10, 9, 8. Like, they started counting from 40. And there's this, you have to push the button if something doesn't happen. Everything has to be right. It's just this ratcheting up of tension for over 40 seconds, or really like a couple of minutes, but which is also very much Nolan, like the ratcheting up of tension. That's Dunkirk over and over and over again in that movie. That's Tenet. Yeah. And here it does it again, masterfully. But then the bomb goes off. And at first, of course, it's just that flash where you can't see anything, because that's the reaction.
It's the flash and the silence and just the breathing.
And then everything goes quiet. And because obviously they couldn't drop a real nuke, and they didn't want to do just a CGI mushroom cloud. I'm guessing I want to know how big that explosion was, because obviously that's a smaller explosion that,
Sure, they just zoomed in, basically. Yeah.
But I want to know how big that explosion was. How many drums of gasoline they blew up, because that's how you get that nice billowy cloud later in movies. First of all, I want to know how big that explosion was. Second of all, that entire sequence, you just see the explosion. Everyone looking at it. Klaus actually walking out of the bunker, just actually look at it. And how, you can't hear anything. First of all, because they're so far away. That's something they played with a lot, like explosions. First you see the explosion, then you hear the sound, which we usually don't do in movies because it's not as fun.
Yeah, and that was the jump scare for me.
Yeah, but that's more, it's more realistic, because they were like miles away. The people who were the furthest away were literally I think they were 3 miles away from the explosion. But then also, we know that the world didn't end there. But, he told Matt Damon before, hours before that, in the time of the movie, there is still a chance that the explosion won't stop, that it will eventually ignite the skies. We might end the world here, but we won't know until we try it. That's also something that, permeates this movie. Theory can only take you so far.
You have to try it eventually to know what actually happens.
And it could be good or bad. So, the explosion is slow motion. You see everyone breathing. All you hear is just people breathing, and it just keeps climbing. It covers the entire screen. Everything is slow motion. But then you see it goes from bright yellow to orange to almost red, and then the explosion is over. And then you hear boom,
and then the wind hits, and it's dark at the same time.
Yeah. So, and that literally, I was breathless during that moment. Because I was also like, are they going to destroy the world now? It was so well orchestrated that even though I knew they didn't, I thought,
for a split second you go,
maybe they will.
Shit.
Yeah, maybe they will.
It ends. Or they failed.
Yeah. So that was one of the greatest moments in film history in a while, I would say.
I scrolled through the trivia while you were talking to see if I could find anything on it, but no, there's mostly it's about casting and how they went about to decide certain people and why he the producer and Nolan specifically decided to do this eventually.
Yeah.
Apparently, what helped Nolan make the decision to direct the film was a book of Oppenheimer's speeches given to him by actor Robert Pattinson at the wrap party of Nolan's previous film Tenet.
Oh,
a little bit of a full circle there.
Yeah, but that scene was that's also where, because I was feeling is this, like I said, the middle hour was a bit frustrating. I was like, is this really one of the best moves of the decade, like Richard Roper had written the day before?
Yeah.
And I was like, really? It's good, but and then it was just it was almost like I get it now. You know what it made me think of?
No.
It made me think of the Snyder Cut, and how that movie just made Man of Steel and Batman vs Superman make sense. It was like watching the Zack Snyder's Justice League was like, oh, I get it now. I see what he was trying to do over all these years, almost 10 years of making his Superman trilogy. I get it now. And that moment when the bomb went off, I was like, oh, I get it. This is why this was so frustrating, because it was a frustrating time for them to be. And then it's just this catharsis of the bomb exploding. But even there, you're not sure. Is it good? Is it bad? I don't know. But I know I'm excited. Masterful
Also would have been
filmmaking.
a weird ending to have that as the final shot, though. It would have been good in one way, because you'd have like, yep, this is it. You know what happens after. People die. That's all. You like if it just ended with the fact that the bomb, they managed. It didn't explode the world.
Yeah.
That would have been also kind of a poetic ending.
Yeah. But then it wouldn't have been the story about Oppenheimer. It would have been the story about the bomb.
No, it would have been the story about the atom bomb, yeah.
This was a story about
You needed to have the aftermath.
Because of what happened to him after the bomb.
Exactly.
So that's why it continues. Yeah. But, yeah. Oh, you found anything?
When we, in the theater we went to, one of the employees talked about the length of the movie, of the film rolls.
Yeah.
He said
6,000 meters?
6,000 meters, yeah. They've listed it here as the entire reel of IMAX film stock used for the productions, all of it, is 11 miles long and weighs 600 pounds. I wonder how much of that they cut out then.
A lot. I know, though.
So much.
Because for the first time in his career, it feels like Christopher Nolan went on like I mean, he's done like interviews before, but it's usually been like pretty like prestigious things. He doesn't just go talk to anybody. But I wonder if this is like Universal saying like, "Hey, we spent so much money in your movie. You're gonna go promote this now." So he's been doing like YouTuber interviews and stuff, which is like,
I think it also has to do with the fact that the strike announced.
That might be it as well, but I mean,
one of them. Apparently, he was left alone to address the audience at the UK premiere.
Oh, no. Okay.
Because the cast were there, and then the strike was announced, and they just left.
Okay. Yeah. But
so he's like, "Oh, right.
Yeah.
Hi. I have to do this alone now."
But also, you know, I think it's also like, you got to get with the times, bro. I get you want to film your movies on actual film and everything, but you're gonna do interviews on YouTube, okay? It's like, okay.
Yeah, go talk to Jacksepticeye.
yeah. So I saw some of those, and I was like, oh no, this is so beneath you, or not that, but I'm like, oh, don't treat him like this, basically saying. But in one of those interviews, though, he talked about what they had to do, because they kind of had to evolve IMAX cinema to make this movie. And talking about the length, like how much was cut out and everything. There's like, well, like the way he works, there's very little that's actually cut out when the movie's made, because he kind of has the edit in his head already when he's done writing the movie. Even some stuff,
it's
of course,
probably just retakes. Yeah. They have to cut
retakes, some pacing, editing you got to do, but 90% of the movie is already done in his head when he starts filming.
Yeah,
but he said that he had one constraint here, and that was that the movie couldn't be longer than 3 hours, because they couldn't make the wheels that you put the film on bigger than they had to make them bigger to accommodate for the length of the movie, and they were literally up against the mechanical arms
at capacity.
They said you can't make it longer than 3 hours because it won't fit on the projector. So he's like, all right, so he had to make it 3 hours.
And this is his longest running film.
Before this was Interstellar, I think.
I think so, yeah.
Like 247 or something. Which is insane.
Jesus Christ. Well, in all fairness, there was nothing in this movie that I would cut out. But I still sort of dislike that it is 3 hours long.
Yes. I mean, when you watch as much movies as we do...
It's still a feat to watch.
Yes, it is.
No matter how good it is or how fantastic the work is, it's still 3 hours. Yeah. It's a lot.
It's a lot. It is. But as long as the movie is good, I'm fine with it.
Sure. But please don't make him longer.
No, we gotta cap it here. Like, this is the second 3-hour movie this year. The other one was Beau was Afraid, which we actively chose not to watch in the cinema because it's 3 hours long, and I wasn't sure I was gonna like it. This I was pretty sure I was gonna like, so I was willing to take the chance there. So I still haven't seen Beau was Afraid. I want to see it, though.
No, me neither.
Whenever you can rent it, I'm going to rent it. But for now, no. I wasn't going to sit for 3 hours and watch an Ari Aster movie. Anyway, we should wrap it up here. This is not Pirates of the Caribbean summer special long, but it's a little longer than usual.
Yes.
So just once again, if you're here for the full episode, we both, I guess, heavily recommend this movie.
Yes.
Yeah, like I said, it's a 5 out of 5 for me. 10 out of 10.
Just the only like loss of any kind of score for me is the length.
Sure.
So it's a 4.5
Okay.
out of 5.
But like I said, this is the closest.
If I could give it like 4.8.
Yeah. But
I
well,
can't.
if you're on a 100 scale, you could.
Yeah, maybe I'm going off Letterboxd here. Check out our Letterboxd if you want to know what we think of movies in general terms.
I haven't written a review of this here yet, but I will. I'll probably just link this.
I don't write reviews really, but you know.
No. Yeah, like I said, this is as close to perfect as you can get without being perfect. I want to see it again, even though it's 3 hours long. And I hope this. We saw it in a more or less packed theater.
Yes.
Which is kind of fun.
No, it was sold out.
Yeah, which is kind of fun because when was the last time you saw that for a non-comic book movie?
A while ago, but I did realize when I went to the ladies' room that I think 80% of the audience were male.
Yeah.
So I think that, it was the Nolan nerds.
Well, yeah, this is kind of a guy movie. There's barely any women in it,
There's like 3.
Yeah.
And 2 of them are just love interests, really. And one says like 2 words and is dismissed because she's a woman and they don't want her reproduction organs to be destroyed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's about it. Oh, and the rumored mistress.
Oh, yeah. The blonde lady.
But she's
later in the movie.
barely in it as well. She is in 2 scenes and says 1 word.
Yeah. But yeah, the last time I can remember, and that makes sense because it's another director that people are like, ooh, I want to go see his movies, no matter what it is. It was when we saw, when we saw Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, the Quentin Tarantino movie.
Yeah.
That's the last time I can remember a packed theater for a non-franchise movie.
Yeah, probably.
That's 4 years ago.
Oh my god, that's 4 years ago?
Yeah.
You sure?
Yes, it was summer 2019. Same summer we saw The Joker, which was also fully packed. But that is technically a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, we've been in packed theaters. Like we said, The Batman. Packed IMAX.
Yeah.
But that's a franchise movie. It's a comic book movie.
Yeah.
Still, as far as you can get from it, but still being a comic book movie. But still. I mean, same thing, Avatar, franchise movie. Fully packed, but that's a franchise movie.
John Wick wasn't fully packed.
But it was a lot of people. Still, franchise movie. This was a film.
Though, to be fair, we haven't been to too many cinema screenings this year, have we? Oh my god, I forgot to add a movie.
I've been to
Never mind,
almost
it's right
one
there.
every week, I think.
Oh yeah, maybe we have. Maybe we just haven't made episodes on all of them.
No, because I was without internet for 4 weeks.
All right.
And then we took this break almost directly after. So we made like 3 episodes in the last 2 months. That's why.
True.
Anyway.
Anywho,
we should wrap it up.
That's it.
Thank you so much for listening. If you want to support the show and get some of these episodes in advance, I don't know, this is coming up. We're recording this on a Friday, so it's going up tomorrow. But maybe I'll put it up.
Or just get extra episodes.
Of course.
We do record extra episodes when we're back on the regular schedule. Every week.
Every week, extra episodes, a companion piece.
Usually.
Yeah, usually. Mainly. Or if you want, early access to my other podcast, Madness in the Method, the greatest Nicolas Cage podcast ever created. Or you want to help us pick what movies we talk about, new or old. You want commentary tracks. You want some exclusive videos even here and there. Check us... Reactions, yeah. Check us out on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. And check out the $3 tier. It's the most bang for your buck.
Yes. Links are everywhere.
So check that out. But other than that, if you just want to listen to the free episodes, thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Tell your friends and family.
We appreciate it.
Yeah, we appreciate it. And we will see you in the next episode, which will probably be in the end of August
Barbie.
or something. And we're going to talk about Barbie and some of the movies we watched over the summer.
End of August? You mean end of July?
Because
beginning of August we have...
But you said we were still on hiatus. That's why this was...
Yeah, but July is almost ending, so...
So we're going to start up again?
Yeah!
So this is the start then?
Maybe, because I just realized that if we do Barbie next week, and we do the Meg after that, so...
Oh, okay. Well, this is still a summer special.
Still summer special, officially. We haven't officially come back yet. It's just, we had to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for listening, and we will see you in the next episode. But until then, have a good one. Bye.
Bye.
The Spoilercast is part of Please Don't Make a Scene. It is produced and directed by Tobias Vedén and hosted by Tobias Vedén and Rebecca Vedén. Executive producer is Annika Vedén. I also want to give a huge shout out to all our patrons over on patreon.com/don'tmakeascene. Christopher Billén, Daniel Geiso, Mom, Dad, Laura Kinney, and Sika85.